Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to do something a little different. Usually we look at a piece of technology and we ask, what does this do?
Right. What are the features? What's the spec sheet?
Exactly. But today we're looking at a piece of technology to ask a much more human question. How does this make us feel? Specifically, we are unpacking that very distinct, very heavy feeling of staring at a blank page. You know the one?
Oh, absolutely. The blinking cursor.
Yes.
It's mocking you.
It is mocking you. It's that sensation where you have like a dozen ideas swirling around in your head.
Could be a novel, could be a code base.
It could be just a difficult email.
Yeah.
But the gap between thinking about it and actually doing it, it just feels like a canyon.
And you're frozen.
You're completely frozen.
It's the universal creative struggle. I mean, we call it analysis paralysis or just being stuck. And honestly, that feeling kills more dreams than a lack of talent ever did.
That is so true.
It's not that people can't do the work, it's that they can't start the work.
Exactly. And today's deep dive is just fascinating because we're looking at a project that attacks that specific paralysis head on. We're analyzing a project called Simple Coach.
Right.
Now, on the surface, this is a mobile app. It was built for the RevenueCat Shipyard Creator Contest.
Yeah.
But when you really dig into the stack of sources we have, I mean, we've got the product requirement documents, the technical build plan, the user flow diagrams.
Yeah.
It becomes so clear that this isn't really about technology for technology's sake.
No, not at all. It reads much more like a manifesto on creative momentum.
It does.
It's just, disguised as an iOS app.
We even have the script for a fictional podcast called The Artist that serves as the philosophical backbone of the app. And the central thesis across all these documents is remarkably simple, yet kind of profound.
Which is?
Ideas are fragile. Momentum is rare. And most of the tools we use today, paradoxically, kill that momentum.
That is a bold claim, isn't it?
It is.
Because we are living in the golden age of productivity tools. We have never had more apps to help us work.
We are drowning in them. But I think anyone listening can relate to this specific cycle. You feel overwhelmed, so you download a new organization app. You spend, 3 hours setting it up?
Oh, yeah. Color coding the tags.
You build a beautiful Kanban board. You set up all the notifications, and then...
You never actually do the work.
Never.
That's the productivity trap.
Yep.
You feel productive because you're tweaking the system, but you aren't producing.
You're optimizing a car that isn't moving.
That's a perfect way to put it. And that's exactly what Simple Coach tries to solve. The mission here, as outlined in their submission for the Better Creating brief, that's brief #6 from Simon at Better Creating, for those following the Shipyard contest, was to build a minimal supportive AI tool. But the key word there is minimal.
So we're going to unpack this from, I think, 4 angles today. First, the problem with our current toolkit and why we feel so stuck despite having so much tech. Second, the specific sort of psychological design choices in Simple Coach that are quite different from things like ChatGPT.
Very different.
Third, the how. And this is wild. For the builders out there, they have a literal 7-day plan to build this entire thing from scratch.
It's ambitious.
And finally, so what does this all mean for your own creative work, whether you use this app or not?
It's essentially a blueprint for getting unstuck.
Let's dive into that problem space first, because the source material brings up a concept we've all heard of, but maybe haven't applied to AI before. The paradox of choice. We usually think having more options is better, right?
In theory, yes. I mean, if you're shopping for a car, maybe. But for a creative mind that is already overwhelmed, choice is actually friction.
That's friction.
Every choice costs energy. The source material highlights a really sharp insight here. Current AI tools often increase your cognitive load. Think about it. You open a standard chatbot, like ChatGPT or Claude, it's a blank screen. What's the first thing it asks you?
How can I help you?
Right. And suddenly the pressure is entirely on you. You have to be the prompt engineer.
Right. I have to perform for the AI.
You have to explain your context. You have to frame the problem. You have to perform intelligence just to get assistance. You have to know what you need before you can even ask for it.
Which is so ironic because usually when I'm stuck, the whole problem is that I don't know what I need.
Exactly. And then assuming you do write a good prompt, what do you get back?
A wall of text.
A 5-paragraph essay. It gives you options, bullet points, nuance.
And I have more work to do.
Now you have to read that essay, evaluate it, filter it, and decide what to do. The document refers to this as the therapy bot trap.
I really got stuck on that term when I was reading the brief. The therapy bot trap. Can you unpack that a bit for us?
Yeah, it's the idea that sometimes users don't want a chatty assistant asking, how does that make you feel about your project? They
Mm-hmm.
want coaching. There's a really distinct difference in this framework between therapy and coaching. Therapy explores feelings and roots.
Okay.
Coaching activates behavior.
Activation. That seems to be the key word here then.
It is. The brief from Simon at Better Creating specifically asked for something that makes coaching accessible. He notes that coaching delivers a high ROI return on investment, but it's usually too expensive or, hard to find.
Right. You can't just call up a high-performance life coach at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday when you're stuck on a line of code or a single paragraph.
Exactly.
So the goal isn't to build a digital friend who just nods sympathetically. It's to build a digital kick in the pants.
Gently, yes. Or maybe a digital compass. The expert insight here is that AI shouldn't be the hero of the story. It shouldn't be the genius that does the work for you.
It's a support role.
It should be a quiet assistant that just removes friction. The core concept driving this entire project is that constraints create clarity.
Constraints create clarity. I love that.
By limiting what you can do in the app, it forces you to actually do something outside the app.
I think that's such a crucial pivot in thinking. We are so used to words like optimization and scaling.
Oh, yeah.
We want tools that make us 10x productive. We want to blast through our to-do list. But this documentation argues that for a creative person, the goal shouldn't be optimization. It should be momentum, just moving 1 inch forward.
Precisely. Optimization is for when you are already moving fast and you want to go faster. Momentum is for when you are stopped.
You can't steer a parked car.
You can't steer a parked car. You just need to get the wheels rolling, even a little.
Okay, so let's look at the solution. Simple coach. How does it actually get those wheels rolling? The documentation mentions a 60-second rule. This stopped me in my tracks, from I'm stuck to a clear next step in under a minute.
That is the core promise. If it takes longer than a minute, the tool has failed.
That's amazing.
Compare that to your typical doom scrolling session where you lose an hour, or trying to configure a complex project management board where you lose a whole afternoon.
Yogi.
The 60-second rule dictates the entire user interface. It means no long typing, no complex setup.
And it achieves that through these coach personas.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't just one generic AI assistant.
No, and that's the core insight. The MVP product requirement document lists these distinct personalities. This is where the psychology gets really interesting to me.
How so?
It treats the user like a human with moods, not just a task robot. It acknowledges that stuckness isn't one single thing. It has different flavors.
Like what?
Sometimes you're stuck because you're scared. Sometimes you're stuck because you're bored or overwhelmed. So instead of one AI trying to be everything, they created a coach library. Yeah. You choose the coach based on your specific block.
Let's walk through a few of these, because I think I've needed every single one of them in the last week alone. Say I'm procrastinating because I'm a perfectionist. I'm, tweaking the font size of my slide deck for the 10th time instead of writing the actual pitch.
Then you would choose the shipping coach.
I definitely need that one. How does it work?
So the source material actually gives us the system prompt, the hidden instructions for this coach. Its job is to be direct and anti-perfectionism.
Okay.
It asks a maximum of one clarifying question, and then it proposes a 15 to 45-minute shipping sprint. But here is the key. It always ends with a definition of done.
A definition of done. That comes from agile software development, doesn't it?
It does, but it applies to everything. Work on the project is a terrible to-do list item because it has no end state.
It's too vague.
Your brain doesn't know when it's allowed to stop, so it doesn't start. The shipping coach forces you to say, draft the first paragraph, stop.
That's doable.
That is doable. The prompt instructions explicitly tell the AI to push against perfectionism.
Okay, what if my problem isn't perfectionism? What if I just have too many ideas? I want to write a novel, start a business, learn to knit, and redecorate the kitchen all at the same time.
That's a classic. Then you choose the clarity coach.
And what's its job?
Its instruction is to reduce complexity. It will present 2 or 3 options with clear trade-offs. It recommends one, and then it tells you to move. It just cuts through the noise.
So it's like that friend who grabs you by the shoulders and says, just pick one.
Exactly that.
And there's a focus coach too, right? For when you're just distracted.
Yes. The focus coach's output is a single task, and I love this detail, a start ritual.
A ritual? Like lighting a candle?
Sometimes. Or it will be incredibly specific. It'll literally tell you, open your code editor, close Twitter, put on your headphones, play this specific song, and write this one function.
Wow.
It leverages the psychology of ritual to trigger a work mode in your brain. It bridges that gap between your physical environment and the mental task you need to do.
It's surprisingly prescriptive. Usually we think we want freedom.
That's the point. When you are drowning in decision fatigue, freedom is torture. You don't want open-ended questions.
You want an answer.
You want a trusted voice to say, do this. There's even a tough love coach described as witty and blunt whose output is a dare to take action in 5 minutes.
I can imagine that being very effective for a certain type of mood. Like, stop whining, just send the email.
Exactly. But notice how risky that would be if it was the only mode. That's why the coach library is so brilliant. On the flip side, there's the confidence coach.
Okay.
It validates your emotion. I hear you're feeling scared. But then it quickly switches to evidence. It reframes that fear into a specific risk and a mitigation strategy. It's very, very nuanced.
So to make this work within that 60-second limit, the interface has to be incredibly tight.
Right.
You can't have people typing long paragraphs explaining their situation to these coaches.
Absolutely not.
The documentation talks about quick actions.
This goes back to removing the need to perform intelligence. The user shouldn't have to type out, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Can you help me prioritize? The interface just has buttons. Buttons like make a plan, reality check, or define next step.
So the interface is the prompt.
Precisely. It removes the mental load. You tap a button, the system knows what context to send to the AI, including which coach you're using, and you get your answer. The tone is calm, supportive, intelligent. It's designed to feel like a tool you wield, not a conversation you have to manage.
This brings up a really important point about data and trust, though. If I'm telling this app about my creative blocks, my fears, my messy project ideas, what happens to that data? The artist podcast script within the source material makes a really big point about personal context without surveillance.
This is a major ethical stance taken by the project, and it's really refreshing. In many modern AI apps, the model learns from everything you type. It builds this massive hidden profile of you in the cloud.
Right.
Simple Coach takes a different approach. They call it agency-first memory.
Agency-first memory. How does that work, technically?
The user explicitly provides a profile. Their goal, their preferred tone, their project name, and any constraints. That's all stored locally on the device.
Okay.
But the conversation history, it's ephemeral. The app doesn't remember your rambling chat from 3 weeks ago unless you explicitly hit a button called Save Insight.
Save Insight. So I have to curate my own breakthroughs.
Yes, and that is a psychological feature as much as it is a technical one.
How do you mean?
Think about how we usually treat chat logs. We never look at them again. They're just digital junk drawers.
So true.
Here, you are forced to spot the value yourself. You say, that sentence was helpful, and you save just that one nugget.
It reinforces the idea that I am the one spotting the value, not the AI. It protects my agency.
Exactly. It builds trust. And in a creative environment, if you don't feel safe, you won't be honest about where you're stuck.
Right. If you think the app is judging you or selling your data, you'll perform for it.
You won't use it to solve real problems.
Yeah.
This design makes it clear it's a tool that works for you, not a tool that watches you.
Okay, let's shift gears. We have a lot of builders, developers, and makers listening. This project wasn't just a concept. It was a submission for a hackathon with a really tight timeline. The source material outlines a 7-day build plan.
This is my favorite part of the documentation because it's just so pragmatic. It's a masterclass in MVP minimum viable product development. They didn't try to build the Taj Mahal. They built a tent that keeps the rain off.
Let's walk through the week, day by day, because the sequencing here is really instructive for anyone who has an idea but feels overwhelmed by the build. Day 1.
Day 1 is skeleton. Just getting the screens up. Onboarding, library, chat.
So no logic.
No logic, no AI connections, just navigation. It proves the app can exist on a device. It's about breaking the blank page problem for the code itself.
So you're not writing the complex algorithms yet?
No. You are just making it tangible. Can I click this button and go to that screen? Yes. Boom. Momentum achieved.
Day 2 is the library.
This is where they define the data model for those coaches we talked about. This is where you hard code the personalities into the system instructions. Technically, this is just a JSON file, a list of text strings, but it's the heart of the app's value. This is where the Clarity Coach is born.
Okay, makes sense. Day 3 is the brain.
Wiring up the chat UI and the AI calls. This is where the quick actions get connected. By the end of day 3, you have a working chatbot. It might be ugly, but it thinks.
But day 4 is interesting. Context. Why wait until day 4 for something that seems so important?
This is critical. Day 4 is adding the profile and saved insights. Without this, the AI is just a generic wrapper.
Ah.
By adding the profile, the goal, tone, constraints, suddenly the AI knows who it is talking to. It turns a generic text generator into a context-aware coach.
So before day 4, it's just ChatGPT. After day 4, it's your coach.
Exactly. It's the personalization layer. Technically, this just involves injecting those local variables into the system prompt before every call.
And day 5 is where they get fancy. Customization.
Right, the Create a Coach wizard. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but technically this allows the user to generate their own system prompts using sliders and simple inputs. It's enabling the user to become a creator within the app.
Day 6 is business.
Integrating RevenueCat for the paywall. And notice, they left this until the app actually worked and provided value.
That's a good point. A lot of people start with the business model and never build the product.
Right. Here, monetization is a feature that gets added once the value is clear.
And day 7, the final day.
Polish. Cleanup, submission, demo video. The lesson here is just incremental progress. Every day ends with a definition of done. The app is always in a shippable state, just with varying levels of features.
It's very meta. They use the momentum philosophy of the app to build the app itself.
They absolutely did. They didn't wait for perfection. They shipped imperfectly, but intentionally.
The tech stack they chose facilitates this speed too, right? They used Expo and TypeScript.
Yeah, Expo is a framework for React Native. It lets you build for both iOS and Android simultaneously using one code base.
Which is crucial on a tight deadline.
For a 7-day build, it's non-negotiable. You can't write Swift for iOS and Kotlin for Android separately in a week. It's just not possible.
And they used RevenueCat. Now, we mentioned them because this is the Shipyard contest, but practically speaking, why was this essential for speed?
Because of what you could call the plumbing problem. Dealing with Apple's StoreKit or Google Play billing directly is...
Well, it's a nightmare, I've heard.
It involves receipt validation, server-side checks, handling expired cards, managing different subscription tiers. It can take weeks of coding just to take a payment.
Right.
RevenueCat allows you to just drop that in, manage the entitlements, who is free, who is pro, and focus on the actual app features.
So it turns a 3-week headache into a 1-afternoon task.
Pretty much, yeah. It frees the developer to focus on the unique value, the coaching, not the infrastructure.
And for storage,
Yeah.
they didn't use a cloud database.
No, they used local storage via Expo Secure Store. Again, keeping it simple.
Why not the cloud?
No complex cloud database means no user accounts to manage, no GDPR headaches initially. Data lives on the user's phone.
So it's simple, private, and fast.
And it makes the app incredibly snappy because there's no network latency for retrieving your own history or profile.
Let's talk about that pro tier. We mentioned sustainability. The app has a free tier and a pro tier.
Yeah, and the model is described as monetization as respect.
I like that framing.
The expert perspective here is that good tools need to be sustainable. If a tool is free, usually you are the product your data is being sold to advertisers. By charging, the developer creates a clean, fair exchange. You pay me, I give you a tool that works for you.
The breakdown is interesting. Free users get 20 messages a day and 3 coaches. Pro users get unlimited everything.
It's what you'd call a soft paywall. You can use the app meaningfully for free. The paywall only appears when you hit a limit or want to unlock specific specialized value.
So it's not a trick or a gotcha.
Not at all. It just says, hey, if you are getting a lot of value from this, please support it so we can keep building it.
One of the pro features is that Create a Coach wizard we touched on. I want to deep dive into that because it sounds a little bit like prompt engineering, which we said was a problem.
But it's prompt engineering wrapped in UI. That's the brilliance of it.
Okay, explain that.
The user doesn't write code or complex instructions. They use a wizard. They give the coach a name, say the pitch coach. They define a purpose. Help me write cold emails. And then, this is the cool part, they use sliders.
Sliders for personality.
Yes, a slider for directness, a slider for warmth, a slider for structure. Behind the scenes, the app translates those slider positions into a complex system prompt for the AI.
So if I set warmth to maximum,
the underlying code might inject instructions like use emojis, be validating, prioritize emotional safety.
and if I set directness to max,
It might inject be brief, use bullet points, do not use filler words.
the interface is the prompt.
Exactly. It gives the creative control over their support system without requiring them to become a tech wizard.
So you can make a gentle morning coach.
One that's 100% warm and low structured just to get you out of bed, you can build that in 10 seconds.
This all fits into the broader context of the shipyard. This is a contest environment, which is what spurred this whole project on.
Right, the Shipyard Creator Contest. It's a fascinating environment because it provides what they call a shipping container, a bundle of tools, Vibe Code, Expo, Mobbin, RevenueCat.
It's like a meal kit for app developers.
That's a great way to put it. And the message to builders is clear. Don't reinvent the wheel. If you are building a coaching app, your unique value is the coaching experience. Your unique value is not writing a credit card processing library.
Use the tool.
Use the tools. It mirrors the advice the app gives the user. Take the small step, use the constraints.
When you connect this to the bigger picture, it feels like the creator economy is shifting, doesn't it?
I think so. We're moving away from these giant one-size-fits-all platforms to micro tools that solve very specific workflow problems. Simple Coach isn't trying to replace ChatGPT. It's trying to be the specific tool you open for 5 minutes when you are stuck.
It's a screwdriver, not a factory.
Perfect analogy. And sometimes you just really, really need a screwdriver.
I want to circle back to something the Artist podcast script mentioned. It talked about how the biggest blocker isn't talent or ideas. It's unclear next steps.
This is so profound. Think about your own work. How many projects have you abandoned not because you couldn't do them, but because you didn't know exactly what to do in the next 15 minutes?
Oh, too many to count. The ambiguity kills the motivation. I look at the project, it looks big and scary, and I go watch YouTube.
The ambiguity is the enemy. By forcing every single interaction to end with a next step and a definition of done, the app dissolves ambiguity. It turns a scary, vague project like write a book into write 3-sentence outlines for chapter 1, time box, 20 minutes.
It makes the mountain climbable by just showing you the next foothold.
And that fosters momentum. Once you take that one step, the next one is easier. Momentum is an artistic practice. It's something you have to cultivate and protect.
The documentation also touches on the Saved Insights feature as a key retention metric. Why is that specific metric so important for the builders?
Because it's a retention proxy. If a user is saving insights, it means they're getting value that they want to keep. It's a much better metric than just time spent in app.
Right.
In fact, for a tool like this, you almost want time spent in app to be low.
That's so counterintuitive for tech. If I'm in the app for an hour, I'm probably not doing my work. I'm just chatting with the AI.
Exactly. Success for Simple Coach is the user leaving the app to go do the thing.
A tool that wants you to close it.
It respects your energy and your time. And that respect builds long-term loyalty, which is far more valuable than short-term engagement.
So we've covered the why, the stuckness, the what, the personas, and the how, the 7-day sprint. Let's talk about the so what for our listeners. We have a mix of people listening, developers, writers, designers, or just people trying to get a side project off the ground.
I think the first lesson is to audit your toolkit. Look at the apps and workflows you use every day and ask yourself, do they give you energy or do they demand it? Do they help you move forward or do they just give you more to manage?
I think we often fall in love with the idea of a tool. If I just get this complex project management software, I'll finally be organized.
But complexity is often just procrastination in a suit. If the tool requires you to maintain it more than it helps you maintain your work, it's a net loss. Simple Coach argues for just enough structure. It argues for minimum viable tooling.
And it also argues for the power of personas in our own heads. Even if you don't use the app, the concept of the shipping coach is something you can internalize.
Yes, this is a mental model you can steal right now. When you are stuck, ask yourself, what voice do I need right now? Do I need the gentle friend, the confidence coach to tell me it's okay? Or do I need the drill sergeant, the tough love coach to tell me to get moving? Being able to switch that internal monologue is a superpower. You can be your own coach if you know which hat to wear.
And tech-wise, for the builders out there, the lesson is clearly ship.
Ship imperfectly, ship intentionally. The 7-day build plan proves that you can build something of real value in a week if you are ruthless about scope. Don't build the create a coach wizard on day one.
Yeah.
Build the skeleton, get it working, then iterate.
The shipyard contest really emphasized that speed. You have 4 weeks, but this plan does it in 1.
Because usually work expands to fill the time available. By artificially constraining it to a 7-day sprint, the developers force themselves to make hard decisions. Do we need a social feed? No.
Do we need user accounts?
Not yet. Do we need a working chat? Yes.
Constraints create clarity.
It's the recursive theme of this entire deep dive. Constraints on the user create clarity for the work. Constraints on the developer create clarity for the product.
I want to touch on one final feature mentioned in the MVP document, the 60-second onboarding.
Oh, that's crucial. If you are selling momentum, you cannot have a 10-minute sign-up flow.
It would kill the whole vibe.
The app asks 3 things: goal, tone, context. Bang, you're in.
It's respectful. It assumes the user is busy and wants to get to work.
And notice what it doesn't ask. It doesn't ask for your email immediately. It doesn't ask for push notification permissions immediately. It establishes value first. Here is the coach. Here is the help. Then, later, it deals with the admin stuff.
That guest-first mentality is something more apps should adopt.
It reduces the bounce rate, for sure. But more importantly, it aligns with the philosophy. I am here to help you, not to harvest your data.
So as we wrap up looking at Simple Coach, it really seems like more than just a hackathon entry. It's a statement about how we should interact with AI.
I think it's proposal for calm AI. AI that is narrow, specific, private, and oriented toward human action.
Not a god, but a good hammer.
It's not trying to be a god, it's trying to be a good hammer.
And sometimes you just need a really good hammer.
Exactly.
We've unpacked the source material, the philosophy, the code. It's pretty rare to see a project where the back-end architecture, local storage, minimal API calls, so perfectly matches the psychological architecture privacy, minimal cognitive load.
It's a holistic design, and I think that's why it stood out to us so much.
Before we go, I want to leave the listener with a thought. We talked about saved insights, curating your own aha moments.
Yes.
I want you, the listener, to think about your last week of work. If you had to save insight on your own week, if you had to distill your struggles and your victories down to just 3 bullet points, what would they be?
That's a powerful question. Are you spotting the patterns in your own work? Are you even looking for them?
And are you spending your energy optimizing your desk, or are you actually sitting at it and shipping?
Ouch. That's the one that stings a little.
It stings because it's true. We are all guilty of it. But the good news is you can change it in literally 60 seconds.
Just define the next step.
Simple Coach isn't just an app, it's a reminder. You are capable. The blocks are normal, but you don't have to stay stuck.
Take care of your momentum.
Take one small step today. Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.